Alright, so as you guys know, the long-awaited Squid Game 2 released on December 26th of 2024, and by now I'm assuming most people have finished it. Now there's a lot of opinions on whether the hype was worth the wait, and I've heard very mixed reviews. Some say they loved it, some say they absolutely hated it and it's absolute dog shit. I personally enjoyed watching Squid Game 2, but I think everyone agrees that it was just not as good as Season 1. And there are many different reasons as to why that could be. But the number one reason why the sequel did not live up to the original is the reason I was even inspired enough to make this video, and that is the characters. Looking at season 1, there are so many great characters like Ali, Sangwoo, Hom Se-young, and even the recurring characters like Gi-hun and Jun Ho were a lot stronger in terms of writing. Season 2 still has some pretty good characters, but it was just glaringly lackluster compared to the first season. And I wanted to rant about it in like a fun way, so here's a tier list of all the relevant characters in Squid Game 2. So I'm going to be grading these characters based on three criterias. Number 1, character concept. This could be simply said as, does this character make sense and is the character necessary in driving the story? Do the characters commit any actions that are inconsistent with the concept of the character? And how interesting or unique is this character? I'm basically just judging the character as a whole and if they play the role they're meant to play. Now obviously the more likable they are, it's better, but like everyone's gonna have those kind of biases, so yeah. Anyways, number 2, screen presence. Now what does this mean? This could sound similar to the first condition, but it's a little different, and let me explain. Screen presence is basically means like when they are in the frame, do they capture the audience and intensify the immersion? Screen time definitely helps with this, but this doesn't mean that the longer they're on the screen, the better they are. You can be in the screen for a little bit, but leave a big impact with the viewing experience. Or you could be in the screen for a while and then the audience could feel like little to no character investment. Now I could be a little biased and put the cooler characters higher, but like, no shit, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna put some lame ass motherfucker in S tier now, am I? But this doesn't necessarily mean that if the character is like evil or annoying, then they automatically go at the bottom. Like, it's not a metric of how morally good or bad they are. It's just a measure of the impact they have on the viewing experience. Now last one, number 3, actor's portrayal. Now, judging the actor or actress's performance in a character evaluation may sound a little controversial because you might think that's like completely separate from the character. But if you think that way, number 1, fuck you. And number 2, the acting performance absolutely does fucking matter. Because the actor's job is to portray the character to the best of their abilities. Because if they don't, then it completely breaks immersion. Now, the average Squid Game viewer probably like has no idea who the fuck any of these people are, but I know a little bit about the cast, so I'm just going to take into account how well they perform the character. Thankfully, these are all great and renowned actors, so I don't think there was a bad performance, but there are definitely those who did a lot better than others. Now, this doesn't mean I'm grading the characters solely based on who the actors are. I'm just saying the better performance absolutely enhances the presence of the characters, so please understand the nuances of what I'm saying. The one thing I will not be doing is grading the characters based on how good looking and attractive they are. Like, bro, I see so many videos and comments going ballistic over their favorite characters, and the main reason is because they're just good looking or pretty. Like, that has nothing to do with the character. Like, I know you think GongYoo is a giga chat, and I know you think Choyuri is like cute and shit, but like, please, let's not give them even more pretty privilege than they already have. Alright, now with that being said, let's get into the tier list. Alright, real quick, let me explain what each ranking means in the tier list. So S tier means that the character made pretty good sense to me and it exceeded my expectations. The character caught my eyes and it impressed me, and then the actors did a wonderful job presenting the character to me. And I'm not saying S means perfect and without flaws, because I don't think any of the characters in season 2 is perfect, but it just stands out among the other characters and they're like more likable than others. A tier means roughly the same as S, but maybe there were like 1 or 2 flaws in the writing of the character, and maybe the character did not leave as hard of an impact compared to S. B means that they were good or decent, but like that's about it. Like, nothing's that special about them. C is for mid characters who I felt were pretty unnecessary. Maybe they just didn't leave that much of an impact, or maybe I just found them a little too annoying or useless. D tier is safe for characters that I thought were stupid as fuck or useless, or characters that have little to nothing to work with for me to even consider judging. Now, I loosely grouped the characters on the bottom based on how connected they are throughout the show and to make it easier for me to make references. But let's first start off with Seon Nyeo. Now, this character I absolutely despised, mainly because she was just annoying as fuck. The actress did a really good job portraying this eerie shaman with an ominous aura, and the character does have some screen presence. But, like, let's be real here. Like, no one fucking likes this character. Like, she's just making unnecessary comments and just staring into the audience souls. Like, I'm surprised if some of y'all still have your souls left in you, because she probably took that shit. She's always being a nuisance, especially in the second game where she's spinning the top and almost sold the entire fucking team. And Hyun Joo, the transgender character, had to smack the living shamanism out of her back to reality. Like, lock the fuck in, bro. Like, no wonder they all left your dumbass when they're playing the third game. This character tries so hard to be Mina from the first season, both annoying ass characters purely there to piss the audience off. But at least in the first season, like the Mina girl, like, she was kind of funny at times. This bitch was just fucking annoying and that's it, and for that I'm putting her in D tier. Now, I'm not even sure why the fuck she's even in this tier list. Like, all she did was bitch about how she didn't like her clothes and shit, and get harassed by THANOS for a bit before she got fucking JFK'd in the dome. But even the little presence she had, I was just so annoyed at how she was talking. Like, I know she's pretty and all, but yeah, like, there's pretty much nothing about this character, so she's going straight to D tier. I'm pretty sure many of you fucking hate this character because of how much of an asshole he is. And I have to agree, this dude was low-key insufferable. If you guys don't know who this actor is, his name is Song Young-chang. And he basically plays the same rich old evil asshole dude like every single time. And Squid Game 2 is no exception. I still thought the character made sense and was somewhat necessary because he's like one of the main faces of the circle group who wants to keep playing the games like, one more game, you know, like these fucking gambling addicts. But the main problem with the character is that he's just too fucking generic. Also, the character just does not stand out enough because he doesn't really do anything else besides yell and be annoying. Like, I don't even remember him killing anyone or like concocting some evil ploy to like fuck people over. So yeah, in my opinion, he's going to C tier. Alright, so if you guys don't know who this is Yang Dong-gun, or YDG. And he's a famous rapper in Korea. And I did not expect him to do such a good job portraying this soy-ass loser character. His dynamic with his mom was pretty wholesome, and I like how he tries his best to take care of her. But, like, I'm gonna be for real, there are certain moments where I was like, damn, this character is such a fucking loser. Like, bro's out here in millions of wons in debt due to fucking gambling and shit, and he sees his mom in there and he still wants to fucking continue playing this game. Like, bro, wake the fuck up. And also in the third game, he gets separated from his mom and fails to protect her. I'm just like, man, you fucked up. The character did serve his purpose fine, but he was just way too soy and wimpy at times for me to rate him any higher. But I still kind of liked his character overall, so I'll give him a solid B. Alright, now, the mom, on the other hand, I thought was a very impressive character. If you guys don't know the actress, Kang, she does not look as old as she does in Squid Game. Like, I saw so many people like, oh my god, like, why does she look so much younger in real life? Like, are you a fucking dumbass? Like, but anyway, yeah, she did do a very good job portraying this caring mother who tries her best to save her son. And we see her being fond of other characters as well, like such as Youngmi, Jun Hee, and Hyun Joo. Oh, like, let's go home and like eat samgyeopsal. Like, I thought it was really nice. She has her little character development where she saw Hyun Joo at first and was like, what the hell is even that? But then ends up learning more about her and understanding her identity, which I thought was cool. She's always shitting on her son, which I thought was kind of funny. But at the end of the day, she seems like a very caring mother who is worried for her son. And it reminded me a lot of my mom, so maybe that's why I like the character a lot. Also, I like the fact that she says she grew up in the Korean War era, which I guess makes sense as to why she's like sometimes feisty and resilient. The actress did a fantastic job showcasing a range of emotion, from happiness to sadness to excitement to sorrow. This might be a stretch, but I think the only problem with the character is like, what the fuck did you do to create such a fucking dumbass loser son? Like, you low-key enabled this stupid ass, but like, it's fine. I'll give her an A tier. I like her a lot. Next is Hyun Joo. She's a male to female transgender character who ended up exceeding my expectations quite a bit. When the character was first announced, I saw so many people just riling up like, oh my god, here's Netflix with the wokeism. Boo! Like, bro, chill the fuck out. It's just a character concept. I also saw that when it was gonna be Park Sung-won playing this character, some Western motherfuckers were like, actually, why did they not cast a trans actor for this role? Like, bro, are you serious? I probably have more nuts in my nutsacks than there are transgender actors in Korea. Which is crazy because this character still has their nuts. Alright, I'm playing, let me chill. But anyway, yeah, you probably know this actor from The Glory who played this character called Chun Jae-jun, who's the polar opposite of what he played in Squid Game. And he played that role so well to the point where all the Koreans just call him as Chun Jae-jun instead of his real name, which is kind of funny. But yeah, because of that, I was curious as to how he was going to portray this character, because it's obviously not easy to play a transgender role, especially in Korea where the LGBTQ community is still heavily marginalized. I think the character of Hyun Joo was done very well. She starts off as this cautious, quiet person who's just kind of there, but here and there she shows moments of greatness. Like in the first game when she and Gi-hun tries to save that guy. And she also has more development later when she explains how her life has drastically changed since openly coming out as transgender. And even if it's extremely difficult, it seems like she's still hopeful in starting her new life. The scenes where she was emotional was great. She bonds with Youngmi, especially when Youngmi calls her pretty and she starts to cry a bit. Like, imagine everyone fucking hates you and like calls you ugly and shit, and you hear those words. Like, it'll probably mean a lot. The scene where eventually Youngmi dies, Hyunjoo's rage and sadness was clearly evident, and I thought it was one of the more emotional scenes in Squid Game 2, even though the emotional impact in Season 2 was like nowhere near what happened in Season 1. But anyway, it also turns out that this motherfucker was actually a special forces soldier or some shit, which is the reason why she's so good with guns. Like, I swear episode 7 was carried by her. When it was time to lock the fuck in, she like factory reset back to default settings or some shit and started sniping everyone in the block, like, goddamn. But anyway, yeah, the character definitely exceeded my expectations and was actually one of the more unique and interesting characters. So I'm actually putting Hyunjoo in S tier. Alright, next up is Youngmi. And I'm gonna be honest, this character was also one of those characters that were just kind of there. I appreciate how she was one of the only ones who truly wanted the games to stop because she was scared for her life. Like, why isn't anyone shitting bricks after they just witnessed what just happened during the games? She also creates a connection with Hyunjoo, as I mentioned earlier. And as cute as their relationship was, like, it was just not enough, or it just wasn't as good as Season 1 with Saebyuk and Ji-young, for example. And overall, her character was just not that interesting. Sorry to say it, but I'm gonna have to put her in C. Alright, now player 333, or Myeong Gi, is basically a YouTuber who told everyone to invest in the Hawk Chua coin and failed miserably. If you guys don't know who the actor is, his name is Im Siwon, and he was actually one of the first characters to be revealed during the promotional phase of Season 2, and I had great expectations of this character. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but this character in Season 2 was like low-key lame as fuck, at least in the earlier parts. His number one op in the show is THANOS, because THANOS blames him for losing all the money when he's the one who made the conscious decision to put all his show me the money earnings in one investment. Like, you stupid ass, you're supposed to diversify your portfolio, you fucking basically deserve to be here. He also meets his ex-girlfriend in these games and doesn't notice her until she approaches him like, yeah, no wonder she fucking broke up with you. He asked her, oh, did you yeetus the fetus? When he ghosted her for like 6 months, and then later is like, actually, let's combine our money and start a new life. Like, bro, he's the ultimate CEO of red flags. During the third game, he is low-key the reason why Youngmi dies, because he shuts the door before she could get in. But honestly, he was right in the sense that if he didn't do that, then everyone else in the room was gonna die. To be honest, I did not expect a character like him to pull that shit, so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I guess he just turned a little crazier after getting bullied by THANOS so many times. So crazy to the point where he kills this motherfucker with a damn fork. That's when I was like, okay, this character can actually do something instead of just yapping about crypto. Another problem I had with this character, and this isn't really the problem with the character itself, but rather the writing and the editing, But this is the character that has the most random appearances throughout the show, in my opinion. Like every time he just appears, it has no flow to whatever was going on previously. So the inconsistency hurts the character concept in a way. By the way, if you guys don't know, this character is actually pretty much a carbon copy of this Korean YouTuber. I won't name drop because I'm not too familiar with him. But every single Korean comments are like, yo, it's exactly that one YouTuber. And I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. But anyway, yeah, very, very mid character. I would put him at C tier, but I guess he tries to protect his ex-girlfriend more in the end. And also just stood up to THANOS and murked his ass instead of being a pussy about it. So let's just put him at the bottom of B tier. Next up is player 222. And we all know the reason why she even entered the game in the first place. And it's pretty much due to the fact that IS-1 is a failed group and now she has no money to cover her training fees. And I see so many people saying how she's their favorite character. Like, did we watch the same fucking show? Like, I know she's choyuri and I know she's a cutie patootie and shit, but like, name me one thing she did throughout the show. Like, come on. Like, let's hear it. Like, give me one thing. I'm sorry to say it, but she was just kind of there for the most part. Like, all I remember is that she's pro-life and that she clearly needs help due to her pregnancy, but for some reason she just pretends like she's chilling. Like, bro, just ask for help. It's not that hard. Also, if she was pregnant, why she even join this shit? Like, please go rest or something. She was at least doing a good job keeping the crypto motherfucker in check, but later in the episodes, she low-key starts folding for him again. Like, bro, are you fucking blind? You're ignoring all the red flags. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're supposed to feel bad for her and shit, but like, she's just not that interesting. And I think the writers tried their best to recreate Saebyuk from season 1, but let's be real, she will never, ever reach the heights that Saebyuk established. It's just the truth. And for those reasons, I will give her C tier. Next is player 246, who is the father of the dying child in episode 1. Now this dude's character was even more confusing because why did they show us so much of him before the game started? Only for him to appear in the most random ass scenes like once or twice every episode. Like, I can't remember a single fucking thing about this dude besides the fact that he's good looking as fuck. And also, if you don't know who the actor is, his name is Lee Jinwook. And I swear this motherfucker has a slave contract with Netflix because he's in every single Netflix show ever. But yeah, there's just not enough of him for me to even have an opinion on him. Which is sad because I thought he was going to have way more of a role. In the end, unfortunately, he gets shot while being on the revolution with Ki-hoon. But like, why'd you even join that shit in the first place? I thought you wanted to go home back to your sick daughter. There's a theory that says he's actually not dead, and that the soldier who shot him is actually the girl that's been keeping an eye on him. So we'll see if his character gets expanded. But the way he appears in every Netflix show ever, they have to have resident him from the dead to appear in Squid Game 3. For now, though, I'll put him in D tier for lack of content. Speaking of the girl who's been keeping an eye on the handsome motherfucker, can anyone tell me where the fuck they were even going with this character? Like, we get it, bro. You want Lee Jinwook's dick so badly. Like, stop staring at him so much. Like, damn. This is another one of the cases where they just bring her up so much during the first 2 episodes, only for her to appear randomly every now and then. Also, why was she kill confirming so much throughout the game? Like, let the motherfuckers harvest the organ and shit. Also, apparently, she knows the guy in the black suit, but their relationship was brought to the screen like literally once. So what the fuck was the point of that? I swear this is just another pink soldier who just gets slightly more screen time than all the other motherfuckers. But I would even argue the pink soldiers who kept making those circle poses in the second game were like better characters. Like, look how cute they are. I think this is one of those cases, well, they will expand more on season 3. Like, maybe she'll end up finding her missing kid again. Or maybe we'll hear more about her and the black suit guy. Some say the theory is that she's actually Saebyuk's long-lost sister. First of all, you fucking racist. Just because they're both North Korean doesn't mean that they're related. And second of all, okay, sure, yeah, let's say they are sister and that they're related. It doesn't change the fact that the character's boring as fuck. For that reason, she's going to D tier. Alright, now I mentioned this guy earlier when I was talking about Nolu. But I seriously cannot put this guy higher than D tier because he appears with his face literally once. I remember seeing him in the trailers and people were speculating as to who that actor might be. And I guess someone big like Hwang Jung-min, if you know who that is. But we get Park Ki-sun, which is, I mean, he's still hella cool. in the 5 seconds he appeared. But yeah, there's literally nothing about this character that's worthy of discussion. He's just a temporary frontman replacement, so he's going straight to D tier. Now, GongYoo's character of the recruiter was a surprise to say the least. If he was just a sexy businessman in the first season, he's now a sexy businessman who's also fucking crazy and psychotic in the head. He literally single-handedly carried the first episode, and GongYoo did such a good job playing this insane psycho who's just playing around with the homeless for fun. I think this is an actor's special talent, but GongYoo has this ability to make each of his eyes appear in different sizes, which I thought was perfect for this role. And the only reason why I was disappointed with this character is that he only appears in one episode before he shoots his head off. Like, why the fuck did they even choose him to do that? Like, I feel like we could have got way more out of him, and searching for him would like take longer than one episode. But maybe they just couldn't afford him to continue, so they just killed him off. Still, in that short screen time he had some of the best screen presence out of any characters in the show. So for that, I'm giving him an A tier. Next up is Min-soo. And this character can be basically summarized as the shy, introverted kid in high school who always gets bullied and shit, but somehow always gets adored by the popular kid. But the popular kid isn't really doing that because he actually cares about the kid. He's just doing that to assert dominance. The actor who plays this character, David Lee, or Idawit, is the master of playing these pussy-ass characters. Like, if you've seen Itaewon Class, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, this dude had the same 2 facial expressions throughout the entire show. Like, he's either worried to death or literally like freaking the fuck out. I like how he asks the tomboy-looking girl why she even chose to play with him in the first place. And she basically says, "Oh yeah, it's cause you're a pussy-ass bitch who won't be able to do anything to me." And then bro took that so seriously and betrayed her ass in the third game. When the tomboy girl is eventually getting attacked by Thanos' sidekick in the final episode, he had the worst attempt of saving her by throwing the bottle and missing completely. Like, bro, what the hell was that? He just keeps getting pressed by Thanos' sidekick and getting saved by Thanos because Thanos finds him cute like a little puppy or some shit. And overall, he was just too pussy of a character for me to put him any higher than C. Alright, next is the tomboy girl, Semi. And honestly, she kinda has a cool style, and she knows how to talk shit back to motherfuckers who talk shit to her. But like, besides that, there's really nothing else about her that's interesting. Like, bro, you did my boy Min-soo dirty by calling him a pussy. Like, oh, you seem like you won't do anything to me. Like, why'd you have to hurt his poor soul like that? Like, damn. Unfortunately, she kinda got murked by the club manager Thanos sidekick dude. And yeah, they didn't have to kill her off like that. But whether she was alive or not, I couldn't really give a fuck. If Chuni, the Eyes One girl, was the Walmart version of Sebyuk, then I would put Semi as an even more downgraded Temu version of Sebyuk. So I'll put her right next to Chuni in C tier. Now this motherfucker Namgyu was one of the most noticeable characters in this season. A lot of viewers low-key hate this dude because of how much of a prick he was, but I feel he was actually good because every time he was on screen, I felt his presence. If you don't know who the actor is, his name is No Jae-won. And if you've seen Killer's Paradox, this dude is so good at playing this oddly unsatisfying character who's always making you feel some type of negative emotion. But it's like ever so slightly disturbing, if you know what I'm talking about. In Squid Game 2, he was the perfect sidekick character as he's always acting like a bitch in front of Thanos. But every time he sees Hemi and Min-soo, he just starts unloading the curse words. And by the way this guy curses is probably the most impressive out of everyone in the show. Like, that shit just pops in your ear. But I feel like you have to know Korean to understand what I'm talking about. I thought the chemistry he had with Thanos was kind of funny too. And later in the show, when eventually Thanos dies, he realizes that he's no longer binded by the Infinity Stone Master and just turns into this fucking monster. Which is why in episode 7, I was genuinely shocked by how crazy this character became. Still, he's just some asshole sidekick at the end of the day, so I'm comfortable putting him in the top of B tier. Alright, now here is what I think is the most spammed meme of a character in the entire show. Thanos, played by Top. This has genuinely got to be the most obnoxiously cringe and silly stupid ass character that's like also kind of funny and somehow likable. For a character that's not part of the main cast, dude has some of the thickest screen time possible. He starts off super cringe by complaining about his fucking shoes, And then later he tries to rizz up the huzz by spitting some of the worst bars I've ever heard, talking about some Senorita, Barjunocho, I'm a legend, Thanos type shit. Like, I especially hate when Korean rappers pronounce Korean words in an English accent. It just sounds terrible. In addition, he speaks the absolute worst English I've ever heard, talking about some welcome to the Thanos world. No problem. I don't know what the fuck are you talking about. I'm so fucking angry, man! Like, just listening to this dude speak was a pain in the ass. And based on what I said so far, you'd think I'd put him 6 feet below F tier. But it's crazy because he has plenty of moments where he's just fucking hilarious. Like, bro starts popping perks and starts tweaking the fuck out throughout the entire show. Especially in the third game when he pulls out some of the most troll maneuver shit I've ever seen. Like, bro starts dancing around and shit, and he kills off his #1 Glazer fan and then starts tweaking the fuck out and blaming everyone for killing him when he's the one who did it. And he makes some of the weirdest noises and facial expressions throughout the show. I know Top has an acting resume behind his K-pop career, but like, I genuinely could not tell if he was a good actor or a bad actor in this show. It's fucking hilarious because the amount of screen time he had was insane, but the way he dies is the most pathetic shit ever. Like, dude just gets poked by a fork and gets deleted on the spot. Honestly, this character is just so troll, I literally have no idea where to put him. So let's just actually do this and put him here. Now we move on to the search team, and we have Hwang Jun-ho here, who in my opinion fell off so hard compared to the first season. In season 1, dude had some of the most elite Among Us gameplay possible, and he had so much to work with. He started off pretty well in the first 2 episodes as he's super determined to find out more about the game and find his brother Yeon Ho as well. But as the show progresses, he literally just appears every now and then, just traveling island after island. He lost so much charm he had in the first season, but he still retains a smidgen of that charisma he had by locking in and planning out the search, so I'll just put him in B tier. Next up is the Lone Shark dude. I don't really know his name, but he was basically the sidekick of the main Lone Shark dude that was working with Ki-hun. Honestly, the first episode I was excited to see him, because if you don't know who this actor is, his name is Chun Seok-ho, and he's so good at playing this comic sidekick character. Like, if you've seen the 3rd Roundup movie with Ma Dong-seok, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I was especially impressed by his acting when they were playing Rock, Paper, Scissors -1 in episode 1. Like, I swear that was one of the most intense scenes in the entire show. I thought the dude was literally gonna die in real life or some shit. But as great as his character started, he slowly starts to fade away and just becomes another generic member of the search team, who makes the same facial expression every single time, which I thought was super unfortunate. I expected more comedy out of him, but I don't think they're gonna improve upon this character in the future, so for that, I will put him in C tier. Alright, next up is the captain of the boat, and if you don't know who the actor is, it's Oh Dal-soo. But if you watch Korean dramas and Korean movies, you've probably seen him at least one point in your life because he's in every single Korean movie ever. Now, I was sus of him a little bit throughout the series, because bro says he's been sailing the sea for 30 years and he can't find one fucking island for 2 years. Like, yeah, that's fucking cap. And what's even more sus is that he does this completely voluntarily. Like, how did Juno just take this shit for granted? He basically was a Korean boomer talking about like, oh, let's drink soju and shit, and wow, a drone, so cool, before he suddenly just murks the fuck out of the one dude in the search team. Like, I guess that's a plot twist, but I personally thought it wasn't that impressive. If you had a negative understanding of the show, just know that every single time a search plan failed, it's because this motherfucker was snitching and leaking the info to the frontman probably. I'm sure he stayed away from killing Juno, because the frontman probably told him to keep him alive. But honestly, overall, just not that interesting of a character. Goes to C tier. Alright, now we are into the main characters team, and we start off with Dae Ho. Now, the actor Kang was one of the first actors to be announced alongside Im Si-won, so similarly, I had some expectations. I personally thought his character was well written. He plays this confident Marine soldier who's kind of sus at times. Like, he mentions he grew up with 4 sisters, and his dad made him join the Marines. He's super prideful about his Marines background, and if you don't know, in Korea, Marines apparently have their own unique prideful culture, since everyone in Korea just has to go to the army anyway. So that's why he bonded with the other Marine character, Jung Bae, so well. And bro absolutely cooked in the second game when he was playing GongYoo. Like, goddamn, that shit was crazy. But honestly, that probably wasn't even him playing. It was just some fucking costume designer in the back. Like, they just zoomed in on their hand. Either way, he has a very likable and energetic character. But eventually, the motherfucker folds when it's actually time to lock in and clutch up. Honestly, it makes sense because at that moment, he's actually fearing for his life. Because he's in the middle of a live action combat and they sent him to grab more bullets. Like, any normal person would just not fucking return to that shit. And honestly, good on him for not going back, because you were gonna die anyway. Like, have you guys seen the way he shoots his gun? Bro's wasting every single fucking bullet that exists. What pissed me off the most was that some people in the comments were like, oh, why didn't he go back? Or like, why is he so scared? Like, wasn't he in the Marines? Like, yeah, you're right. If you're in the army, you're just immune to fear. Like, it's just impossible for you to be scared. Like, no soldier has ever experienced PTSD or anything. Like, yeah, you're right, you fucking dumbass. But anyway, if he clutched up in the end, I'd probably give him more respect. But yeah, he indeed folded like a lawn chair, so I'll give him A tier. Now here is probably the most impressive character in the series, the frontman slash Inho slash Youngil. Now maybe it's in their blood, but this motherfucker had arguably a better Among Us gameplay than his brother in Season 1. Honestly, I did not expect him to actually join the games, so the ending of Episode 3 was a pleasant surprise. Throughout the series, he has some of the best yin and yang dialogue moments with Ki-hun, where Ki-hun would have an idea like, bro, why did you press O? And then he's like, yeah, you're right, but actually 182 other people also agree with me, so like, what? And shit like that. Throughout those conversations, he's speaking both as the character he's playing in Youngil and as the frontman trying to get to Ki-hun more, which I thought was a very smart choice. Also, he genuinely trolls the fuck out of Ki-hun by saying shit like, LMAO, who actually chose the umbrella in the fucking Dalgona game? And oh, I can't drink white milk, just like Ki-hun. Like, dude, this dude is taunting the fuck out of him. The only small issue with the character design is that, yeah, we all know he's evil, so the ending doesn't really surprise anyone unless you're that easily deceived. I've seen some people in the comments like, OMG, player 1 is actually the frontman? And I'm just like, are you fucking stupid? Like, please, never reproduce ever, or else your kids are gonna end up in Squid Games themselves because they're gonna have negative IQ. But yeah, honestly, he has some of the most insane emotional manipulating tactics I've ever seen. Like, dude is marinating the fuck out of Ki-hun, talking about his sick wife and shit. It's crazy because the actor LeeByungHun is acting a character who is acting a character, if that makes sense. Yeah, I would have to argue he might be the most troll motherfucker in the series besides THANOS. Like, dude inted so hard in that second game when he's trying to spin the top. Like, did you see the smirk on his face as he yeeted the fuck out of that top backwards? It was also so troll the way he was so invested in the other teams winning. Like, bro forgot he was the frontman for a second. Also, he was just genuinely cool as fuck when he was breaking up the fight between THANOS and the crypto dude. And during the mingle game, he literally snapped some dude's neck like, holy shit, this dude is not fucking around. When he pretends to die at the end and has a dying voice with a straight face, I was like, damn, dude, this is why LeeByungHun is goated. Low-key, this is probably the most evil character because the way he did Ki-hun's best friend at the end was so fucked up, like, goddamn. I cannot wait to see Ki-hun's reaction to the third season when he finds out that the frontman has trolled him the entirety of season 2. He's going straight to S tier. Next up is Ki-hun's best friend in Jung Bae. And honestly, I did not expect this dude to have this much character buildup and screen presence. Because in the first season, the dude literally appeared for like 1 second betting on horses. But yeah, surprisingly, he's probably one of the most likable characters in the show due to how normal he is. Like, when you have all these weird-ass shamans and rappers and crypto scammers and shit, it actually works to the benefit that you are some normal dude who's just best friends with the main character. And I love the fact that he's the only dude who is able to return Ki-hun back to his original, like, cheap loser character when they were having a conversation together. And his chemistry with Dae Ho, the Marine dude, was also pretty good to see. I also respected him heavily when he joins Ki-hun to infiltrate the main base at the final episode. Despite the fact that he was like, yeah, I'm scared too, but like, this is the only chance we have. So I was actually left stunned when the frontman decided to kill him off. Honestly speaking, this character straight up doesn't have a flaw besides the fact that he's a loser who got divorced from his wife and shit. But yeah, his character heavily exceeded my expectations. In fact, I would honestly be brave enough to put him in S tier because he's just that likable in my opinion. Unfortunately, he won't return in season 3, but bro had a pretty respectable run in season 2. Alright, finally we get to the last one, and that is the main character, Gi-hun. Honestly, I expected nothing more and nothing less from LeeJungJae. I think he pretty much put out what I thought he was gonna do in season 2. He's a completely different character compared to the one we see in season 1, and I feel like the transition flowed pretty smoothly. I've seen some people that don't like his character because he's the protagonist who's a symbol of justice and righteousness, when in reality he's a fucking loser, deadbeat gambler dad who lied his ass off to the old dude in season 1 to save face. Like, I get it, dude. But first of all, he is the main character. And second of all, of course he's a changed and different character because it's called character progression. Like, he's not gonna be the same degenerate loser in season 2 now, is he? Also, it's actually better that he has some inconsistency in his means of justice because that makes it realistic. Like, no one in this world is a perfect hero 24/7. Like, you're still going to have some flaws here and there. Also, you don't have to put a label of, oh, he's this CEO of justice. Like, bro, it's not that deep. He just doesn't want people to die, and he doesn't want to use the money that's from the blood of the others. It's easy to understand Ki-hun's character because it's just simple and it makes sense. Like, I can't forgive these motherfuckers who put me through this. Let me find them. Oh, I played this red light, green light game before. Let's try to alert the others so that everyone can pass safely. Oh, they changed the games? Shit, I don't even know what the fuck to do anymore. But please stop choosing, oh, we need to get out of here. We should not be fighting each other. We should be fighting these pink motherfuckers. Like, it all just makes sense. I especially loved this reaction when his best friend Jung Bae died, because it reminded me of Walter White in Breaking Bad when Hank dies. Hopefully someone memes this shit soon, because I haven't seen anything yet. But with all that being said, I will give him an A tier, and not S, because everything he does is about as expected and there wasn't really anything special. Also, one character flaw, but how did you get trolled by player 1 in both season 1 and season 2? Like, by now, the way the frontman taunted you with snarky ass comments and called you by your real name so casually, like, you think you suss him out a little bit, but nah, it can't happen twice, right? But that's just a small issue in my opinion. Overall, they did a pretty good job continuing the story of the protagonist, and hopefully we see the same, if not more, of a quality in the next season. Alright, that's the end of the tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me ranting about these characters, but if you have any different opinions and you disagree with my takes, please feel free to leave in the comments so that I can read them and not give a single fuck because I'm right and you're wrong. But anyway, yeah, that's it. You don't have to subscribe because I don't plan on uploading regularly, but please consider liking and sharing the video. I want to see if it can gain some views or if I just wasted my time yapping for no reason. Thank you, and now we wait until season 3 comes out.